All right. Hello, everyone. Sorry about the technical delays to start the event there. I'm not blaming anyone, but I can hear loud and clear. Uh, my name is Pete, and thank you for joining the first episode of Realm Runners. I'm really excited to start this. I was very much looking forward to it, and especially talking with a lot of the people over at Willow Wraith Press. Sorry, a little flustered, but I was very excited to get the opportunity to do this. There's an amazing group over there. All of the guys are incredible authors, doing a great job, and getting to see behind the scenes the encouragement and the criticism, but constructive everything along the way has been really awesome. And I'm especially thankful to Bill and Dewey who helped me get all this set up. I'm the only reviewer over there. So, when Bill brought this idea up to me and said, "Hey, why don't you start streaming?" I was super into it. And I'm looking at it as my way of giving back a little bit. So I'm happy to do it. And I'm especially grateful to all the people on Twitter and Instagram and Blue Sky. I have to cover all my bases now because it's X, not Twitter, but who showed interest in doing this. So I was very happy to finally get it up and running. I also want to give a shout out to my wife, Laura, who is upstairs watching our daughter on the little night cam right now to give me the opportunity to do this. I know she's watching, so Laura, can you stomp and scream as loud as you can so I know that you're watching? All right, that was a test. We didn't want to wake the baby, so that was good. And I really wanted to make this whole stream idea enough very mellow and fun and light. I grew up listening to Opie and Anthony, Howard Stern, those guys, and I saw how much fun that they had interviewing guests and different people, and it gave you kind of a behind the scenes look at the people. Bringing it back to the sci-fi fantasy, I remember there was a time Pedro Pascal was on before he was gigantic, and he was in there, and I don't even think they talked about Game of Thrones, but it made me really appreciate him more as a human. And it was a lot of fun to listen to, and that's what I'm going to try and do here. And I'm especially pumped to start it with a really amazing dude. He was actually one of the first people that I connected with. I went back and I found this from Twitter, and you can see the date on there at the top. That is from September. Before that, my Twitter account was just making fun of the New York Jets, which it still is, but it was a disaster before that. And, this cover and the description and the authors he not compared himself to, but mentioned really drew me in. And ever since I saw this post back in September, I was stoked. And getting to know him has been kind of horrible, but as an author, he's fucking awesome. So I just wanted to get that point across. And now welcome to the stage, Mr. ZB Steele.
Hello, everyone. Apologies on being late. I was having some microphone difficulties. It is not Pete's fault. I blame him for everything else that goes wrong in my life, but that was not on him.
Yeah, well, we had to ease into it. It wouldn't have been the start of a live stream without some technical difficulties. So
yeah. Plus, if it fails, now you can be like, well, if CB had been on time.
Exactly. I appreciate you joining the room at 8:59.
It was 8:57. Which, was a few minutes after you requested, but still.
It still worked out fine. All's well that ends good for the most part. But yeah, so how's everything going? The day been going good for you?
It's been an up and down day. I had some people get mad at me for a review that I posted, but then I did some yard work and got some fast food that's killing me, and yeah. So it's been, we're ending on a high. But now I'm here, so we're really ending on a low, but that's all right.
I was going to say you're petering down, but I know. I feel like I've been sitting on dad jokes for the last 15 years, and only recently it kind of makes me feel better that I actually have a child to exploit for my sense of humor.
Yeah, that's the whole point, really.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. But so yeah, like I said, I wanted to keep it light. So my first question is for you: what is your deepest, darkest secret?
Oh, Pete, we went over that many moons ago. I needed like 16 more drinks and everyone in the chat to be way cooler than they are right now. Because as it is, no
Yeah,
shot.
no, this is Realm Runners After Dark. We're gonna have to start at some point.
If you got the singles, I will start tripping.
The only other thing that I wanted to start with, and you were in at the ground level of this idea, and one of the things that actually my brother Russ, who's somewhere lurking in this chat, came up with was when we were talking about Beyond Redemption by the fabulous Michael Fletcher, was "Would you survive?" And right off the bat, in Whispers of the Storm, which is fantastic,
No.
would you survive?
I think it depends on which book we're in, not to get spoilery, but yeah, the first one, I think I would. I think I'd just be like some drudgering soldier up to nothing and digging latrines, but yeah, I'd make it.
I don't think I'd make it. Like, I think I'd be one of those useless soldiers too, but then, one of the guys showing off his new bows across the way just like loses it, and I'm just torqued. I'm just done. I just know I have that type of luck where I'm just cooked in every book, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like you wouldn't survive. I would make it though. The only book I could really see you surviving is like, I don't know, like Legends and Lattes or something.
And even that, I'm sure I would just get scalded dropping coffee or something.
Yeah.
One of those healing journeys
Yeah, mix
afterwards.
up cyanide and cinnamon because they sound similar.
I wanted to also kind of do the jump off here. I know that you had a couple releases before this. I read all of them back to back to back for a few days more.
No.
Inkling of Flame, and then Whispers of the Storm. And I can honestly say each one of them, you are growing exponentially.
Yeah.
I think they're fantastic. I love them.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. And I think one of especially the more unique aspects of Whispers was the idea of shattering
Yeah.
with the elemental magic. How did you come up with that? Because that elemental magic's been around for a while in a lot of different forms. So to take it and make it something unique like that, how'd that pop in your head?
People are gonna roast me in the comments for this, but it's partly Naruto inspired, which you being the anime fan that you are, where so growing up I watched that show a lot, and it was really cool because they had this like magical resource called chakra. And before, because like anime kind of like it gets like it just keeps growing. Before everything started popping off, it was like, oh, this guy can use a fireball twice a day. So he has to do XYZ and kind of set up the battlefield to really use his move. And I always liked that. I just kind of wish it meant something more too. So I kind of took that concept and just was like, well, what if like that was all you had, like for life, and it's not coming back? So use it wise.
Yeah, that's a very awesome idea of doing that. How everything is finite, or is it finite?
Yeah,
Finite,
I think
I
it's
think.
finite. Which
Yeah,
that
we'll go
does
with
touch on
that.
like Brandon Sanderson's rules of magic, which like I don't think he's the Messiah or anything like some people do, but he made a good point where it's like magic systems, especially hard magic systems, are cooler for what they can't do. If they're the answer for everything, then they're no longer cool. But if it's like there's constraints and you have to be clever with it, then it's way cooler.
Yes, I 100% agree with that. It makes it much more trying to think of even the right word. It's that much more intense when you have to go into that bag of tricks and break it out, because you
Yeah.
can't just have it as a, that's not your plan B for every scenario you come across.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, that's a very interesting way of coming up with it. I think it's awesome. And one of the other aspects of Whispers, which you kind of see in Inkling, and even for a few days more, the supporting cast in all of them, amazing. It's almost like the supporting characters are just as important and fully fleshed out as the main one.
Yeah.
Do you work just as not work just as hard, but like put as much time into the different characteristics. Though the way that Joe Abercrombie, Anthony Ryan, all their secondary characters, you can have a spin-off story about any of them and be
So
just as fun.
yes and no. I'll typically start off with a character with a name and like 2 or 3 traits, and then a backstory, like just a quick kind of D&D-esque backstory. If you had to come up with someone on the fly, and then I'll workshop it in my head and be like, does this make sense in the world? How does his role impact this? How does his history impact this? And then from there, I just kind of let them talk. I'm really more of a conduit with dialogue and side characters. I don't try to force them to do anything. They kind of take the reins and go where they will. And that's why you see some of them die somewhat prematurely or before their arc is really complete. Is just because, like, well, they fucked up. I don't know. Couldn't have done that.
Yes, the classic fucking up, which is why I would go out early on every one of these. I wanted to give us another shout out actually to the subreddit that you already did an AMA in, but
Yeah.
Grimdark Epic Fantasy on Reddit, which
Mhm.
has really popped off recently. It's been awesome. And I saw this question in the AMA that was just there with Glenn Cook, I think. Do you ever come up with a character or idea for one that doesn't fit in that story and pivot and kind of include him or her into one of the other ones?
I don't think I've had that happen yet. So Whispers and Song of the Damned is obviously like a pretty plotted out series because it's backwards narrative, frame narrative. So the major beats are there, but there's a lot of room in between the beats where it's like, 40 things have to happen, but in between those 40 things, I have a lot of freedom. So if I do have a sick character come to mind, I can usually work them in. But I don't think I've had anything happen where like I've had to change plans or anything to work in a new character.
All right, makes sense. And you say sick as characters. I'm giving it up. I'm going to pop up the book here. One of the
Yeah,
sickest characters I've come across, Red Cloak.
yeah, my
What the
my baby
fuck?
boy. Yeah, Red
How,
Cloak. He's a vicious fucking bastard. Yeah,
that's like as crazy as it gets with the chained whip,
yeah,
all that time. I remember the first time I saw even just read that, and it was one of those. I think I texted you right after. I was like, dude, that is out of control. That was right out of almost like a different media. Like I could have seen
yeah,
that guy popping up as like a Mr. Yellow
yeah.
in Reservoir. I'm wearing, the written and directed by Tarantino. I figured
Nice, good
toss
shirt, good
that out
shirt.
for you there. But
Yeah.
do you think anyone has been, not anyone, but have you been influenced besides Tarantino-y and anime? Because I can't really rap with you about that. But what do you think your biggest outside influence besides those two would be?
So I have a list of people that I shout out. It's sometimes it's 7, sometimes it's 10. Depends who you ask or when you ask me. But so Abercrombie, obviously, Anna Smith Spark, Sebastian de Castell, Anthony Ryan, Quentin Tarantino, and Patrick Rothfuss. Damn, who's the 7th? I'm dropping a name here. This is
Pete
embarrassing.
Pete Barnacle. Wow.
Oh, Pete Barnable, Bill Adams is up there, Dewey Conway.
We could have the little
Dirty.
slap backslash between all of them.
Yeah. Oh, Steven Erickson's the 7th.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
I'm still only on book 2 of Malazan. I feel like that is, I need to devote all the time to
Oh
reading
yeah.
that. That's not really a book where it's like I can read 2 different arcs and something else, and also on the side when I have some spare time, I'll read a little Malazan. It's just too ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
amazing, but
I read all 10 like right before and then slightly after my kid was born. And then I tried to read one of the prequels by him when my kid was like a year old, which is weirdly enough, you think the first month is going to go sleep deprived, but it kind of creeps up on you.
mm-hmm.
And I tried to read the prequel when she was like a year old or 6 months old, and no, nah. Couldn't
Not
do it.
happening.
It was just too much.
It is too much. I feel like I took a picture with my daughter when she was like 6 months old with a Mark Lawrence book because he
Yeah.
was I brought him to Hawaii on our honeymoon, and then when she was 6 days old, took a picture of that, and I was like, oh look, like Mark, look, this is full circle, and he was all polite and like, oh, that's lovely. And
Yeah,
that
Mark
was
Lawrence
pretty
is the
much,
man. He wished me a happy birthday one time. I've been buzzing about that for 2 years.
dude, he rules. I
Yeah,
love
he's the
Mark
best.
Lawrence. There's those auto-buy authors. He is one of them, and almost everyone you mentioned. Right off the cuff, I'm a big John Gwynn guy too, who is an
Yeah.
auto purchase. But since you mentioned the your daughter, who is awesome, and I saw the picture of her helping you sell the books the other day, and you couldn't ask for a better saleswoman. Uh, but especially in that grimdark genre, because this just happened to me
Mhm.
very recently. Like, I'm cool watching some barbaric shit and just
Yeah.
reading about it. It's totally fine. If it's, especially, I'm gonna get back into it in a bit with your humor because it's hilarious. But since you've had your daughter, has there been any kind of, not hesitancy, because it's still great storytelling, but
Mhm.
like, I was watching a show the other day and they brought in like a 8 month old, a year old into like the ER. She's screaming, crying, and I'm in my head just like, I just watched gunshot victims and whatever, patch them up, get them out of there, and this kid is just screaming, and I'm like, if this kid dies, I'm never watching the show again.
Yeah.
And luckily it turned out it was just like a wet hair wrapped around the toe making her cry, so I was like, oh great, like,
Yeah.
clean your drain was really all I learned from that. But do you kind of not second guess, but ease into it a little bit more regarding kids getting hurt or anything like that?
No, not really. I mean, as an author, the only scene that I really struggled to write was a kid death, not in For a Few Days More, not that scene.
Mm.
Um,
Oh, so that was easy to you.
it wasn't easy, but it was like I was in like a fugue state, or a fugue state, or however that word is pronounced. It's spelled horribly,
It's
but
terrible.
yeah, I kind of saw myself in third person writing that scene, and then it was over. I was like, oh, whatever, that's fine. But no, there's a scene in the unreleased book. I don't know when or if it'll ever come out. The first draft is done, so it'll probably come out eventually. But yeah, I wrote like a kid death scene, and like there were flashbacks to the kid growing up. I was kind of seeing my own kid while and that didn't sit right with me. That
Yeah,
was
it
a
takes
tough
a
scene to
turn
write.
to not fun, like, just
Yeah,
one day randomly, all of a sudden it's just like, you know what, ew. But
yeah,
you kind of got to do it.
yeah. No, I'm a big believer in not pulling punches in fiction because it's just why would you?
Yes, which I appreciate, because I talk all this game, and then as soon as I read it, I'm like, "Oh, that was great. That was really good."
Yeah.
Uh, I wanted to also ask about Inkling, which I'm popping up here. Why is there no fox in the book? It's
Well, you
such a
read
beautiful
so
cover. Your sister-in-law did such an amazing job on the cover, but it's all cute and adorable, and
so all
takes a
right. So I get
turn.
that complaint a lot, and my issue with it is, and people who've read it typically agree with me, where I asked for kind of an ominous cover, which it is. If you know the story, that cover is rather dark. And when
Mm.
I see it, I don't see the cute thing that y'all are talking about. I see like a dead-eyed fox that's kind of insidious in nature. So my sister-in-law crushed it. Anyone who thinks that is cute is wrong, and you guys need to get your eyes checked.
I disagree. It's adorable. The book itself, not so much. And when you read it, it really comes full circle with it.
Yeah,
But yeah, that I mean, this story was great. It kind of goes back to what I was
no,
saying about the side characters being so great,
yeah.
because you have the four of them all together, and it kind of reminded me of. I really hope I'm not dating myself because even this was before my time. But have you seen Stand by Me?
I've seen like 20 minutes of it. Is that the Stephen King one where they find the dead
Tech.
body and stuff?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
called the short story is called The Body, but you've only seen a little bit of the movie.
Yeah, it was on like AMC or something weird.
Mm, 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 mm.
You said it was old for your standards, and you're like 65.
I know, but it's just the gray hair that date me. But we're gonna
More than
just
that,
end the
brother.
stream. Maybe we're gonna have to just keep watching this. But uh, yeah, no, that movie was great, and it's kind of that coming of age story, which
Yeah,
Inkling definitely was, and it really tied all of that in together. The going off to a war that you don't even necessarily believe in, which you see a lot throughout history, and it's obviously
yeah,
mega unfortunate. But you did a fantastic job of getting all that across, and the loss of innocence with everything.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
did
thank you for
you?
saying so. I did want to nail the theme of like everyone to hear their own story because like when in this world, if you looked up like a history book, like 50 years, 100 years, they'd be like, Lane, who cares? That was some guy. Who cares? But like Lane's story matters to him, and hopefully it matters to the reader.
Yes, and I definitely think it does. That was a perfect prequel to lead into the main story of Whispers. Did you come up with the epilogue of Inkling before or after you wrote Whispers, or did you always know
After.
that's how you wanted to tie that in?
So I kind of had this scene stolen from Red Rising, which I've never read. I think like book 4 or 5, actually, whichever one that is. But my best buddy told me about it and like what happens in it, and I really love the concept, so I wanted to flesh that out in like a full on story, and that was kind of the inspiration for it, as well as just yeah, this is a little weird, but like I really wanted to say thank you to my best friend because I used to be not depressed, but like extremely socially anxious, like in early high school, and he kind of took me under his wing, and so it's kind of like my experience with that, you know. It's
Yeah,
that's kind
that
of how Inkling came about, but it came it was written like a month after Whispers was written because I just had the itch to keep
oh,
writing.
that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
great because I have had like 10 false starts where I write like 600 words, and I'm like, this is fucking impossible. So to
Once you
just
get the
like,
first one done and can and prove yourself that you can do it, like it gets easier, oddly enough. Although
yeah, no,
there's challenges that come with it too. Like I think most authors will tell you their first 2 or 3 books, there's a lot of imposter syndrome because you spend so much time with the first one and then you edit it and you make it as perfect as you can, and then you start with something new and you're like, wow, this sucks. you know. So there's a lot of imposter syndrome with book 2 and 3, but you just gotta dive in.
yeah, no, and that was like what we talked about, where it was almost like that plan to have a child, where it's like if you keep waiting for that perfect moment, you're just never going to have the opportunity.
It'll
And
never
it's
happen.
really
Yeah,
just like you just got to dive in and get going. If it sucks, it sucks, but you can always look back at it later, get some input from other people and everything like that. But, getting the words out is the most important part, no matter how good or bad they actually are.
100%. You can make bad words better, but you can't make no words better.
That's true. There are times when I wish I said no words, but as far as writing goes, yeah, you kind of need them. Um, as far as the Redland crossover, I wanted to see because that was a wild cameo. No, or is that a cameo, or is that just like it's not a crossover because it's the same story?
Yeah, I don't know what I would call it. Encounter, I guess.
Encounter's a good one. We'll go with that. But
Yeah.
what's your favorite encounter from another author's work? Because I have one right off the top of my head where it was like, whoa, when it came out.
Let me hear what you have in mind because I'm not entirely sure what you mean.
I think this is major spoilers for Joe Abercrombie. So, if you haven't been caught up to date, you can log off and I won't take it personally. But the realization that Lamb was Logan,
Yeah.
when that happened, I was like, because you haven't seen him for 4 books at that. Yeah, the three stand is the end of the third standalone. So almost 3 books. And you're
Yeah.
just like, oh shit. And
Yeah.
when that happened, it was like, maybe I didn't pick up on it as quick as some other people, but that
It
blew my
hits it pretty
mind.
early. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe I need to read it again, but it's just the first
Good
thing that
book.
popped in my head. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite of the standalones personally is that one.
Red Country?
Um, yeah, favorite encounter would probably be Malzahn book 8. There's a duel like right at the end where there's a very badass character who I don't want to give any names away because there's so many decimals in it. Even telling people who lives that long is kind of a spoiler. There's a very badass character who sees two people throw down who have been kind of hyped up for the entire series. And that character's like, that shit is wild. I don't even want to touch that. So it's a little fan servicey almost, but it's so freaking epic that doesn't matter.
Yeah, that sounds about right then. But even that fan service, as long as that like he crushes it, which he obviously does, people obsess over that series with good reason.
Yeah.
Even as hyped as that chain of dog segments was in Dead House Gates, I remember finally getting to it and being like, there's no way that this is going to live up to it. Like, that's all I keep hearing. And then, that's like size 8 font in a 700 page book, and I'm just sitting. I think I got glasses after Chain of Dogs because didn't blink for a couple hundred pages. And yeah, just carrying on with the crossover idea. I know one of our favorite artists, I'm not going to say author at this point, but MF Doom.
Yeah.
As far as crossovers go, yeah, you got the tattoo and everything, which is absolute fire. I know that Mad Villain had the lyric for one of the opening chapters in Whispers, which was just
living off borrowed time. The clock ticks faster.
Banger, all the time.
It's
we could just it's just crazy. It's got to be up there with whatever the new sleep token is for you, as far as 1A and 1B. Oh. You didn't like my comparison when I said it was like a male Evanescence.
I think I did. Well, no, because I respect Evanescence, actually.
I don't know. We saw Evanescence like open after Lindsey Sterling, who was like electronic violin, and she was crazy. And Evanescence just sounded like a choir. I don't get the gospel singing. It's exhausting. Like don't go to church or temple.
This is slam. I don't want to sit here and I don't even want to be associated with this slam. This is ludicrous.
All right, so we're gonna just put a pin in the sleep token discussion. But we'll bring it up.
Fans are insane.
Savage. Even in the chat right now, Tim Wolf just coming in, not even throwing up the dancing emoji, just hearts. And
yeah, if Tim's not throwing the dancing emoji, that's not good.
Because you can't dance to sleep token. Token dances to you. Evanescence is trash. Agreed. Thank you. I'm big fans of the chat right now.
Kick people in the chat.
Please. I'm pinning that. We got the dance emoji. But kind of bringing it back to the family aspect with, I think your daughter's like 2.5, right?
Yeah, about 2.5.
And what just blew my mind a little bit ago was saying, you did Whispers and then Inkling right after it. I know it takes a special level of devotion to write, and you have it in fucking spades. But how do you keep yourself kind of diligent on a schedule to get all of this done? Like, that's a crazy amount of work, and especially with the hustle that goes into it as well.
Well, I think most importantly, I've just never lost the joy of it. Like, I love writing. There of course, there's bad days where you're like, this is kind of a gross metaphor, but it's like dragging your balls across glass, where it's just like, this sucks.
Oh, you don't like that?
Makes you feel stupid, and just there's definitely days where it sucks. But so mostly I've never lost the joy. Most of the time I really like what I'm doing. I try to picture it as a movie. I think about it constantly. 16 hours a day I'm thinking about the books. And then I really just set little small word goals, which is something I recommend to every single person I talk to if they ask me for writing advice. What I personally set it as 350 words, which is not a ton, and it's about a page. So if you did the bare minimum every day, you would end up at a year with 365 pages, which is really, it's almost done. You could call it done probably.
Mm-hmm.
So if you did the bare minimum every day, you would have a book a year.
Now, it's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah, granted, most days it's going to kickstart you and you're going to get 500, 600, 1,000, something like that. But it's really just having a minimum that keeps you moving.
How much out of that? Oh, I guess it kind of depends with each day. I was gonna say, out of those words, we talked about, even if it sucks, it's good to get there. But you can always, I guess, fix that in post. Like you can go back in. How valuable do you think those alpha and beta readers are when it comes to doing that? Like, because you don't want to over obsess about what you've written yourself.
Yeah. So beta read personally for me, I don't get the appeal of alpha readers at all. So what I do is I finish the first draft, I read through it twice and make as many edits as I want to or as I can, and then I'll send it to beta readers. And what I do is I try to get a nice blend of readers and authors because readers are a little bit more gentle. They're a little bit more like, fuck yeah, dude, this rules. And then authors are more like, this sentence sucks, do this better. Which, both of which have value, of course. You just don't want too much of either because if you have just authors for beta readers, you're going to fucking hate yourself.
Yeah, you guys are very brutal.
Oh, yeah. Authors are mean.
Yeah,
But if you
you
have too many
are.
readers, then it's just like, I'm perfect. I'm the best author of all time. And then it comes out like, this sucks.
Yeah, you need that healthy medium, someone to
Yeah.
check it.
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, I think if you're going to skip beta readers, you can. It depends on how diligent you are as an individual. I don't think you can skip a good editor. They're worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, every once in a while you come across one where it's just like, oh man, I wish someone ran through this one a little bit more. But
Yeah.
little things along the way aren't so bad. Like if you have some missing, like a period or a comma, like that type of stuff is whatever. Like you can
Yeah.
get
Use some
past
trad
it.
books for that.
Yeah, so it's very noticeable when the editor budget went maybe towards a $10,000 cover or something like that, and
Getting
that's that.
spicy on the first episode. All right.
I have no idea. I don't know anything. That's why, like, behind the
Well,
scenes in the groups are so valuable. The ones that we've been in, like, it's been enlightening on one level.
yeah. I mean, behind the scenes, it's definitely tough, especially for like a debut author or someone who doesn't really know where those resources are. Because if your budget is $2,000, which is kind of high, 800, 1,000, 1,200, that's going to editing. So you really can't afford to miss on that. And there's some shitty editors out there.
Yeah, I mean, if someone wants to give me $2,000, I'll be the worst editor that you've ever seen. I just won't
Yeah.
correct anything.
If anyone gives you any money at all, that's on them.
About Tree Fitty.
Yeah, all right. Goddamn Loch Ness monster. But no,
God
I
damn.
mean, editing is a tough gamble because if you don't have personal recommendations from authors whose books that you've read and said this is a well edited book, it's kind of just a crapshoot. You have no idea.
That's true. That's a good point. But it's something that I never would have really considered until you start to see, who shells out for it. And,
Yeah,
you start to see the same people's names as editors pop up over and over. And it's very noticeable as opposed to, I did it on my own. And it's
yeah,
like, that's great. Like,
yeah. Let me give a quick shout out to Bard and Butter. They're just getting started. They did Whispers, and Rachel did mine, and I believe she left 5,000 fixes. I think she left 3,200 on the first go around, and then 1,800 on the second. So she is fantastic. I highly recommend Bard and Butter.
Barden, but it's a great name too, actually.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
people. Super easy to work with. Hopped on a video call with me like 6 times. Yeah,
Well,
she's
that's
awesome.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good that they're so engaged like that. So yeah, definitely glad to give them a shout out, obviously.
yeah.
Um, yeah, one of the final things, I only have a couple more ideas off the top of my head, and then we could just start quoting movies to each other for the next hour and
Fuck
everyone
this
can
question.
leave.
Let's get to that.
I was going to say, since you have done really kind of so well with Whispers, what has been the coolest thing? I know you've got some pull quotes from some authors who are, in that personal stratosphere level, and had the review posted with, Grimdark magazine, all sorts of stuff like that. What do you think is, kind of the coolest thing that's happened recently as far as Whispers goes, because it's getting like crazy well-deserved praise, and I'm like really so happy for you about it.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'll say before I jump into what the coolest is, I will emphasize how crazy it is because my first year of being published, for a few days more, had 23 ratings and made about $125 after a whole 365 days. So Whispers of the Storm taking off like it has been a dream come true and utterly mind blowing. Like last time I checked, it was at 225 ratings, and Whispers came out. Sorry, I have 225 ratings, not the book. But still, like the 10x multiplier, because Inkling dropped in January, late January, and then Whispers came out on March 25th. So that kind of growth is fucking staggering to me. It is mind blowing and cool as all hell. So thank you to everyone who's picked it up. Thank you to everyone who's read it and rated it and everything. You guys are gems. It really is very cool. Now, fuck all y'all after saying that, because the coolest thing was getting a quote from Anna Smith Spark, because Anna Smith Spark is a personal inspiration. She is probably the most talented pound for pound author I've ever read. Her prose is magnetic. Her work is dark as hell. She just crushes pages. She is phenomenal. So getting a pull quote from a personal hero like that is very cool. And then I would say Dr. John, Esme, and Patrick have some of my favorite reviews. I love their style. Ariana just dropped a review the other day, and her style is fucking hilarious. I love her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of the highlights in a nutshell. And yeah, that's the cool stuff that's happened so far.
Yeah, which is extraordinarily awesome. All of that is super cool. I imagine it's how Dave Lawson feels knowing that he has a Pete Reviews Books Good pull quote on the back of
No, I talked to Dave. I
Songs
saw
of
the
Havoc.
bald shiny head, and he said nope. His least favorite review. Funny enough.
Wow, that's ironic. I heard the exact opposite. Oh, I'm gonna go with my version of the truth.
Well, did you hear it from like the face and the back of his head, or?
Oh shit! There's a front.
Well, yeah, because you got to have the whole 180 degrees. That's why he wears that like purple turban from the first Harry Potter.
Dave Quirrell. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yep, I would have never gotten that.
That was kind of what I was about to ask. It's a good lead in, but Harry Potter, that was kind of, I was about to say when I was young, but you were probably just like in utero when the first Harry Potter came out.
Yeah.
What do you?
No, that was the perfect age for Harry Potter. I think the first one
I guess you
I was
kind of
like
were.
7 or 8 or something.
Yeah, like 99, I think. But
I was 4 then, so never mind.
I think it was 99. I know my grandma was online to get me book 6, and someone bought it and yelled that Snape killed Dumbledore online, and she didn't know what it meant, but everyone else was fucking furious. But she told me that like later on, she's like, someone yelled something and everyone was really angry. I was like, don't say a fucking word. But what books when you were younger got you into this genre?
So Harry Potter, I liked the movies a lot as a kid, and then as I got older, I was kind of like when I got like 12, I was like, Harry Potter's fucking lame, actually.
So I'm gonna watch anime.
Yeah, fuck off. Anime's hype as shit. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, there's power systems and shit. It's not. I yelled a word louder than the other kid. So, I never. This is actually kind of funny to say. I never finished the Harry Potter movies. I got too old, and I didn't really love the books. So as a kid growing up, I read The Hobbit, which hot take. It's the best Tolkien book. Fight me in the comments if you want, but it is. And then I read Dragonlance Chronicles and the Raceland trilogy after, as well as I read like 60 Dritz books. There, I was tearing those bitches up. So that was kind of it for elementary school to middle school, with some of the other books they made you read, and then I think in sophomore year, I read Name of the Wind, and from there it's been grown up fantasy for life.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people bash Name of the Wind just because of the whole Mary Sue aspect. I think it's like one of the top 5 books I ever read in my life.
It's
I think it's
fucking
like a
good.
masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece. It's so fucking good. I think people get their personal issues honestly with it, which like I totally get because Patrick Rothfuss be stealing from charities and he's a fraud artist. He's never gonna
You're
pay
calling me
charity.
spicy. I don't want to hear it. In case Mr.
I
Rothfuss,
Hey, I
I
got
know
a
I bashed
cafe
you in the intro
tattoo.
video. Oh yeah, you do. All right, we're good. We're covered.
I love the books as much as anyone else. Patrick Rothfuss is a thief. It's both these things are true. I even think the second book is better than the first, which is a hot take because it has like the sex ninja stuff, which is weird.
Dude, that is a steaming hot take.
It's got higher highs for sure. The cafe alone is phenomenal.
It is. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't need to go that deep into it. I thought maybe just because I love book 1 and that was like
Book one, yeah. If you want to say book
wild.
one is better, I won't take it away from you. But
Yeah, that's almost like 2 sides of the same coin, I suppose.
yeah, I just think book two has higher highs with the cafe and like the bandit camp scene. That shit was metal.
Yeah, it was. And like real metal, not sleep token metal, like sick shit.
Yeah,
But
not like ambiance.
no, definitely not ambient. That was like, yeah, late 80s Metallica. Uh, besides the ones that we've mentioned, what world would you not want to live in? We talked about if we would live or die. I am deceased. You are somehow alive. But which one is just a straight up absolutely not?
I know that you said we can't. My first answer is Beyond Redemption. That place sucks.
It really fucking sucks.
So if I can't say that, I'd probably say Godblind. That book was metal.
I haven't read Godblind.
I think you would dig it, man. It's got kind of Sebastian A. Castell's pacing with like 2 to 4 pages per chapter, so you just fucking fly through it, and some kind of Abercrombie esque character work. It's really an underrated book.
All right. So yeah, that's just what I need. More books on the TBR list.
It's got one of the top 3 most brutal scenes I've ever read.
All right. So yeah, this is skyrocketing up the list.
Yeah, I don't want to
All
give
right.
too many spoilers, but it involves nails and testicles. So
Ow.
yeah, it's metal. That book is
Yeah.
dark.
No, that sounds brutal, which I'm right up there. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, good book.
Obviously. Yeah, no, it sounds awesome. Who doesn't want to hear about balls getting nailed?
I didn't say what to get nailed to. I'll leave that for a surprise.
That's maybe like a pillow or something.
Well, you'll have to read and find out.
All right, I'll report back on the next episode. I was gonna, yeah, just end off. You already answered it. I was gonna say, what other books, indie, trad, anything like that, that you would recommend off the top of your head?
Dude, so many. I'll give a quick shout out to what I'm reading right now, which is Hyperion, or however you pronounce that, by Dan Simmons. That shit is magical. That is very good.
Insane.
Yeah. I'm not super far into it. I'm still with The Priest, which I think is probably the longest tale.
Mm-hmm.
But man, that writing is fantastic. And I'm also reading The 100th Question by Stephen William Hanna, which is book 2 of the Interloper, which is that series is awesome too. It's kind of post-apocalypse sci-fi where there's this thing called the phenomenon that comes around, and it's like kind of like Bird Box, where if you're not with a blindfold and like noise-canceling headphones, you just go fucking insane.
Wow, that sounds pretty sick too. Bird Box was a good movie, pretty underrated actually.
It's kind of underrated and overwatched because everyone watched
Yeah,
it, and it was like no one really liked it.
did that come out during the pandemic? Is that why everyone watched it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It was a hot
that's
take. The first 2 months of the pandemic were fucking sick. That was a great 2 months. Everyone was indoors watching Tiger King and stuff.
oh yeah, Tiger King, Joe Exotic. He's
Yeah,
still
and
in prison. He thinks Trump's gonna get him out like any day.
yeah, any day. He didn't do it the first time, but this time for sure.
No, yeah, that pardon's coming. keep hanging in there, Joe. Us here at Realm Runners are really pulling for you, and we'd love to have you on in 15, 20 years when you're finally
We'd love
out.
to work at that park. That's the dream.
Yes, it is. It's the very quick death as well.
That's a world we would not survive. Forget Beyond Redemption.
I kind of think that's right. We were so worried about the fantasy realm, and I could probably just get hit by a car when I go to
Now I
cross.
just feel bad. Yeah.
Well, just write me into a book. I'll live forever.
Yeah. I wrote you into a book, and you did not live forever. So
that's true. I die a lot. I just won Michael Michelle's little giveaway because he had his re-release and everything, which was awesome. But yeah, he asked if I wanted to live or die, and I really kind of wanted to die. And then he explained, he's like, I think this character may actually move on to book 4 and 5. And I was like, oh, live then. I definitely want to live. I didn't know that was an option. I kind of just thought I had to die.
Yeah, in his book, I'm a little bit surprised. Which, speaking of Indie Rex, Price of Power was a good book. That was up there for one of the best like self-pub books I've ever read.
Yeah, great book.
Yeah.
But that was this was a lot of fun, man. I had a great time with you. I wanted to see if you wanted to give your social medias a shout out and let people know where they could find you and what you got coming up next.
No. If you
just
hang out on my socials, you deserve whatever you get. You are a fool. I know a few people who have my notifications turned on, which is just silly. Don't turn those off. What a foolish mistake. If you're watching this, you can buy this book. It's not backwards on Amazon. It's just backwards on my camera. There's an Anna Smith Spark quote right there that you can't see. And there's Dr. John Morrow quote that you also can't see. It's been getting a lot of good reviews. If you're into Grimdark, Dark Fantasy, frame narratives like Name of the Wind, Abercrombie-esque dialogue, Tarantino-esque stuff, that's the pitch in a nutshell. I liked it. I thought it was a cool book.
It's a fucking awesome book.
Yeah, I think you should buy it. If you're watching this and you already bought a copy, you should buy another. That's a good idea.
You can never go wrong.
Yeah. There any questions in the comments? We still got like 5 minutes left?
We got as long as you want. After this, we're just going to start quoting shit to each other.
Oh, that's after camera stuff.
I'm scrolling now. It looks like there
was than this has been.
How do you feel about Nickelback? It looks like there was quite the discussion going on.
Nickelback is not bad.
I'm kind of on board with that because I watched that documentary. They had one on like Netflix or Amazon or something, and it was one of those like you think it's going to be a joke. Nickelback bangs.
Animals is a good song, and whenever Rockstar comes on, go play Rockstar right now and tell me it's not catchy, because that song was catchy as hell.
It's impossible. You just have to dance. It's like in a Chappelle show where John Mayer plays the white people riff, and he just gets up and they all start just grooving. It's like that. Man. Rockstar comes on, you just bounce around.
When they go in the barbershop, that was so good.
It was that. John, play the fight song.
He goes in there, he starts playing his drum, and they just look at him like, what the fuck was that?
That is one of my favorite quotes of all time. I say it all the time. No one ever gets it. They just think I'm mean. But where he's playing it and the barber just stops and looks at me, he goes, hey, yo. And they all stop and look at him. He goes, shut the fuck up. They're like, all right, John, let's get out of here. It's one of the best 10 seconds of any TV show of all time.
Yeah, the Chappelle Show had an unbelievable run.
Yeah,
those
really
first
did.
2 seasons are full of bangers. It was insane.
It's great stuff. But this is the end of the first show. I guess I have to work on how to close it out as opposed to just pulling the e-brake.
What I would do is I would pick someone from the comments, and then we can just like lambast them as we kind of go about. Maybe we can do like a fade effect where our voices slowly, dwindle down to nothing, and really like just ruin somebody's day.
I do like that. Who do we like? Not like, because we kind of like everyone for Grimdark author, and
this is the wrong way to start.
I know, but if we're gonna just be
You just buttered
messing
them
with
up
people.
for more, so they come back for episode 2.
I'm very excited about who I have for episode 2. I'm gonna share that tomorrow, but
Well, you could
it's
share it right
gonna
now. Everyone's already here.
I'm gonna share it tomorrow. I have a nice graphic made, and we're gonna keep the promotion going. Is the only
Fair enough.
hint
I
I'm
tried,
going to
everyone.
give.
Yeah, I tried. Hey, that was not on me.
No, it was a very good attempt actually, but no, this is not my first go around. I'm gonna tease my way to success. This is really my low key plan, is to just become good friends with all of you guys, and we'll
You're off to a
kind of
horrible
lead.
start.
Just with you, the people that matter kind of like me.
I don't think so. They talk a lot of shit behind your back. And
As
they
long as
don't
it's
even
behind
like
my
me.
back.
So, like, imagine what they say to their real friends, you know?
That's true. I saw my wife checked in. She said roast the Jets. So we'll go with that. What do you have? Because I know you're a Falcon fan, so you kind of have to toe the line a little bit more with
Yeah, I'm on
Kirk
dangerous ground
O'Chains.
there. I don't
But
have to roast the Jets. You guys do it yourselves.
yeah, and there's a couple of jokes that I'm not gonna make because I don't want to get canceled. But I'm sure everyone could put it together. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
But Nick Betts doesn't like the Falcons. That's a little too.
Well, yeah, Nick Betts has horrible taste. He
New
liked
York.
my book. That's the proof of, like, yeah, you shouldn't trust that guy.
Yeah, that's also a good point. He was the only one who correctly predicted that you would be the first guest, though, which,
That is true.
special shout out to him. As soon as I was like, we have someone coming, he's like, fucking ZB. Ooh.
I remember you and I both just go like, fuck. Nailed it.
I was like, yeah, I guess at least I'm predictable. You're highly unpredictable, which is what makes the book so amazing. But
I make the same fucking 6 jokes on every interview I've been on. Everyone in the comments is probably like, this guy has no new material at all.
That's fine. Save it for the text.
That's true.
Yeah. Be as boring as you want.
That is true. Hey, I do have a nice little 2-3 minute joke that I'm going to save everyone the trouble of.
Oh, so like a...
Yeah, no one's going to laugh. They're going to boo me in the comments, so we'll move on. But
I want the 2-minute joke to end the episode.
Okay. So
I'm not even going to respond to it when it happens. I'm literally going to hear the punchline and end the stream.
Yeah, as soon as the punch, because no one laughs at my fucking jokes because I'm so deadpan that they just
I love the sense of humor.
Yeah, well, we'll see if you laugh then.
You're not going to see if I laugh. I'm ending the stream, but go ahead.
So there's a guy named Joe. He's talking to his boss, and he says, "Hey, I know every single person in the world." And Joe's boss goes, "That's physically impossible. Like, Tom Hanks." Joe's like, "Yeah, I know Tom Hanks. I'll call him up." So he calls him up, and he's like, "Tom, I'm coming over." They drive over to Hollywood, and Joe walks in. Tom's like, "Joe, welcome." And Joe's boss is like, "Fuck, he knew Tom Cruise." So he's like, "All right, what about Barack Obama?" And Joe's like, "Oh, yeah, me and Barry go way back." So Joe calls up Barack. He says, "Hey, Barry, I'm coming over." And they come over to Virginia, and they're hanging out with Barack Obama. And Joe's boss is like, "God damn, this is kind of crazy." But so Joe's boss still doesn't believe it. And he's like, "Well, what about the Pope? R.I.P. R.I.P. to Pope Francis." "You don't know the Pope." And Joe's like, "Yeah, I know Pope Francis. We've been friends for a long time. This is a year ago." And so they fly to the Vatican, and Pope Francis is giving a speech up on a balcony. So Joe's like, shit, I don't think he can see me from here. I'll tell you what, I know all the security guards, and so I'll just walk in, I'll stand on the balcony behind the Pope, and I'll wave at you. And that'll prove that I know the Pope and all the security guys and all that. Joe's boss is like, all right. So Joe goes, and he's standing up there on the balcony, and he comes back down after the speech is over, and Joe's boss is getting taken away in an ambulance. He's like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And Joe's boss goes, "Oh, Joe, I was in the crowd, and you walked up there, and someone said, 'Who the fuck is up there with Joe?'" All right, end it. Quit it. Call
it. Well, I just wanted to say thank you. This was awesome. I am super honored that you wanted to be the first person to come on here, and I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see where you go next. I'd like to know who your next guest is, but apparently I'm not important enough. But yeah, I'm very excited. I think you have a lot of passion and you have a nice little easy charisma going for you, even though you're a Jets fan. So I'm very excited to see what you do next.
A lifetime of pain just makes everything. Talking about it is like a little bit of a therapy session, but I'm glad you have that to say as well. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing what you're doing next. I'm stoked for fucking book 2. Anything else that you have coming out, keep
Yeah.
banging away, man. It's all been great so far.
Thank you for saying so. Yeah, book 2, hopefully out early next year.
All right. Sounds good, brother. I will talk to you soon. And to everyone in the chat, go buy everything that he has available for sale. Reach out to him directly. Don't give Jeff Bezos any money.
I do sell direct if anyone is interested.
Sells direct. So
Yeah.
go reach out. Go do that. Thank you again, ZB. And
Yeah.
I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thank you everyone who showed up and show up for Pete's next episode, even though I probably won't be there, so it won't be as fun.
Yeah, that's true. You can heckle from the comment section. I'll mute you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Later, buddy.